incorporate the essence of God. If you want to feel the presence of God, read In the Garden with the Father, Understanding True Intimacy. No matter what your background. Let's read a piece. Page 99, it says strength. You're stronger than you think. I've placed nations inside of you. Don't be afraid to speak up and do what I have told you. It's time to step into what I've called you to do. Come on here now, God. And then this is just me and God having our own special time together. I published this in 2021. Yeah, 2021, right after the pandemic. God is so good. Let's talk about it. And I have 2 other books, Befriending the Shadow, Unshakable Peace, Unstoppable Change. Both of those are my shadow activity books. Let's break it down. You get a word of knowledge. Then you get an exercise, okay, to show you different parts of yourself. It's kind of fun because it's like looking deeper in yourself, but it's like a fun way. And then you get a shadow question. That's not so fun. It kind of hurts. It's like, ouch. You know what I'm saying? It causes you to look at yourself differently than you ever would. Okay. And then, and that caused me a lot of tears. Then number 4, fun. It's a coloring page, but God asked me to keep it between the age of 5 and 10. Why? Because of this particular reason. Between the ages of 5 and 10, that's when most childhood wounding happens. No matter how good you say your family was, that's when wounding happens, okay? By the age of 7 is when it's solidified. By the age of 10, if nobody assisted, it's really in your system. By the age of 20 to 25, now it belongs to you. It's no longer you can blame anybody in your lineage. Now it is on you to find a way to fix it. I know it's unfair. Unfortunately, that's how it works, okay? And then number 5, the thing you get is you get 4 pages. It's 22 chapters per book. What you get is you get 4 pages. 4 pages to draw, doodle, all of that. You get to draw, doodle, write down your dreams, write down your visions, put down how you're feeling, all in a book. Because, see, I didn't see that anywhere. I saw all these shadow workbooks, but they was kind of blah. I was doing the work, but I was like, I need to have a little bit of fun so I can keep doing the work and not quit. Because you sometimes you'll quit in the middle of the process because your inner child and your inner teenager need to come out. And when you find things that allow you to stay in that vein, that's what I'm talking about. And God said, well, make it. I said, say less. Don't forget about my other 2 books that are already on New York Times bestseller list, Influence and Impact with Chris Voss, and Mindset Matters with Jack Canfield. Okay. God don't need no background check. It's humans that need that. And even if they get the background check, if they don't like you, guess what? They try to close the door on you. But they can't close the door that God already left open. Okay. No matter what your background. Okay, because God don't care. God said he'll take anybody. Only thing God said he needs a willing heart. Okay. Notebooks and journals for all, coloring books that help in meditating and recalibrating your mind. See, God don't care. He don't care nothing about your religious background. God don't care. It's people who do. You'll see the link with the women's podcast with the women's leveling up that was done in May. You'll see 3 other magazines I was in, September, October, and December. I also placed my own link to my own personal bookstore. I'm excited about this venture. Why? Because I'm in charge of my own intellectual property. Even though I have a lot of stuff on Amazon, but my special journals are on mine. Okay. There are some freebies there just for you. I added a link to the 105 spiritual laws. There's only 7 in the initiate book, the Kabbalah. But when I looked in another book, it was 12. I said, wait a minute. God is not an author of confusion. So I went and did a check, and it is 105 spiritual laws. Time out. Let's call it this one, disclaimer. We're no longer underneath the Mosaic law anymore where you operate in the law. No, believe me, go read Galatians 3. Galatians 3 will break it down to you and break it down and say, if you offend in one of these laws, that means if you break one of these laws throughout the day, that means you offended it everywhere. That's 105 laws plus 613 commandments. That's a lot to remember and keep up with. Okay. So that's why when Jesus came here, okay, whether you say he was an archetype, whether you say he was human, it doesn't matter. What matters is we have 2 new paradigms on this earth, whether we like it or not. Because if we didn't have these 2 paradigms on the earth, why in 100 AD and 200 AD did they fight so hard to take some of these books out of the Bible that Jesus was in? Yeah, so we know something happened. Because if they fought that hard to keep these books out of the Bible, something truly happened. Whether you want to believe it or not, that ain't on me. I know what I believe. I believe in myself. Sounds of Blackness. Okay. So he came and gave us love and grace. Love is the ability to forgive the unforgivable, to love the unlovable, but put a boundary between you and them. So once it's like, you cut me, okay, I'm done. See you later. And then you send them with cleansing and purifying energy, or you say, I release you in love, and you let them go on by their way. You cut those cords and you keep it moving, okay? Then grace is God's willingness to get involved in human affairs. And if you like me, I gave God full reign. I said, look, when I found out about it, I said, look, I'm going to give you full reign. If I get down here in a situation and I can't get out of this situation, I give you full reign to come and get me. And if I can't say help, like Peter, come and get me. He said, say less, I am, because I don't put too much in you. I said, thank you. And then you have the 10 commandments. But it's really 613 commandments. And if you want to know all of the 613, get the Torah, or you get the Kamash and the Tanakh. Those are the English versions of the Torah. You can go anywhere where Christian books are sold, so you can get that, so you can see what is going on, so you can see the truth. It's a big difference. And when you read the Bible and you read that, when you read the Bible and you read that at the same time, you're like, wait a minute, some of these verses is missing out of the Bible. Exactly. Because if they had left that stuff inside the Bible, do you know the power that humans could have? It's what we're going through now. We are seeing who we really are, and the powers that were are having a moment. That's why everything is happening. Because if I take your mind off the Bible, if I take your mind off what God is doing, and I get your mind over here on the distraction, like a rooster does, a rooster is a distraction to get you over here. When God is trying to get your attention over here, what you gonna look at? Okay. And God told the Israelites, you cannot keep 613 laws every day for the rest of your life. They say, yes, we can. Us and our children's. See, that's how we got involved with this. They did the same thing with Jesus and Barabbas. They say, who you want to release, Jesus or Barabbas? They said Barabbas. And the king said, I wash my hands of it. I don't have nothing to do with what you're going to do with this man. They said, that's fine. We'll put it on us and our children's. I said, wait a minute. I didn't ask for this. So all of that, what happened in Egypt, is what we're dealing with now. That's why you fighting stuff and it seems like you in quicksand or sludge sometimes. Yeah, we fighting stuff that happened all the way back then. Yeah, that's what happens when you go up against God. So we fixing what our ancestors did, plus our own stuff, and then also helping with some of the collective, because God knew that some of the collective ain't gonna wake up. So that's on us too. You see what I'm saying? So you're covering stuff that you didn't even do. And sometimes you're trying to figure out, well, since I didn't do it, how can I do it? God's like, that's why I'm giving you wisdom and intuition along the way. Get back to it. So they said, yes, we can, us and our children to it. So that's where we get that generational baggage, that generational trauma. And then that's when you get to be the person with the authority. See, the police in every city, in every township, in every county have the authority. If you going through a suburbia or through a housing area and the speed limit 25 and you going 60, they have a right to pull you over and say, I have an authority to pull you over and hold you in contempt. We have the same right. When something is going on in your family for so long, you have the right to say, no, want another child go through this? No. Want another teenager go through this? No. Want another person in this family go through drug addicts? Well, no. Well, you get to be the person to stop it, because that's who Jesus was. He was the person that gave us the authority. But remember, in 100 AD and 200 AD, they took all that stuff out. So it was as if it didn't exist. So we are now stepping into the reins of taking the control of our own lives. So that's where we are now. So you know, again, we know everything, but we don't know anything. And that keeps us from. And how do I get this right here? This came straight from God, because God said, when you go through the kingdom, like Jesus told us, as a child, you don't hold on to certain things you already know. You learn how to let it go. And in order to go to the next level, or even to get on the next level, you get to cut off half of what you know. If you don't, you stay where you at. That's why the Pharisees and the Sadducees didn't like Jesus.